Imagine a fog-shrouded street in 1850s Chicago, where gas lamps flicker like uneasy secrets. A young widow steps through the door of a detective agency, her eyes sharp as a blade. She's not here for a secretary job. She's here to shatter the glass ceiling of a man's world. This is the forgotten story of Kate Warne, America's first female detective who solved murders, thwarted assassins, and uncovered hidden histories long before women could even vote. But in a time when ladies were expected to faint at the sight of blood, Kate dove headfirst into the darkness. And today, in this real mystery from our buried truths, we're pulling back the veil on the woman who outsmarted killers and changed the game forever. Stick around, because this tale of intrigue and forgotten heroism might just rewrite what you think you know about American history. In the mid-19th century, America was a powder keg of change. The Industrial Revolution churned out fortunes and felonies in equal measure, while whispers of civil war echoed from the South. Women, they were confined to parlors and kitchens, their voices silenced in polls and professions voting rights, a distant dream, not granted until 1920. But in 1856, amid this hidden history of inequality, a 23-year-old widow named Kate Warne walked into the Pinkerton National Detective Agency in Chicago. Born around 1833 in Erin, New York. To modest parents, Kate had shouldered household burdens early. Widowed young, details lost to time. She needed work, and she wasn't about to settle for sewing or serving. Allan Pinkerton, the gruff Scottish immigrant who founded the agency, stared at her in disbelief. "We don't hire women detectives," he sighed flatly. It wasn't custom, it wasn't done. But Kate, with her clear-cut features, brown hair pinned neatly, and an unyielding gaze, leaned in. She argued that women could access secrets men never could, befriending suspects' wives, slipping into social circles unnoticed. Her intellect shone through, her grace masking a steel resolve. Pinkerton, ever the innovator, relented. He hired her on the spot, making her the first female detective in U.S. history. This mysterious discovery of talent would prove revolutionary. Kate's training was baptism by fire. Pinkerton taught her the arts of disguise, surveillance, and deduction. She learned to read faces like maps, to weave lies that unraveled truths. In an era rife with embezzlement and espionage, her role was a hidden weapon. But skepticism loomed. Could a woman really crack cases in this dark underbelly? Kate was about to prove them wrong, unveiling forgotten truths one shadow at a time. Kate's first major test came in 1858. A case that would cement her as a force in investigative storytelling. The Adams Express Company had lost $50,000 to embezzlement, a fortune in today's terms, equivalent to over $1 million. The suspect, Nathan Maroney, a charming express agent in Montgomery, Alabama. Pinkerton suspected him but needed proof. Enter Kate, undercover as Madame Imbert, a wealthy socialite with a flair for the dramatic. Posing with elegance and a fabricated backstory, Kate befriended Maroney's wife. Over teas and confidences, she earned trust, listening as the wife unwittingly revealed clues. Maroney had hidden the money, but his arrogance cracked under pressure. Kate's notes flowed back to Pinkerton. Details of stashed bills, suspicious travels. When confronted, Maroney confessed, and $39,515 was recovered. Ace at bedtime, but Kate's real victory was proving women's prowess in unraveling real mysteries. This wasn't just a win, it was a blueprint. Pinkerton, impressed, promoted her in 1862, head the Female Detective Bureau. She recruited trailblazers like Hattie Lawton and Elizabeth Baker, training them in the subtle arts of espionage. In a time when hidden histories buried women's achievements, Kate was forging a path. But greater dangers lurked, ones that could alter the nation's fate. By 1861, America teetered on Civil War's edge. Abraham Lincoln, newly elected, faced death threats from secessionists, furious over his anti-slavery stance. Pinkerton, hired to protect him, uncovered whispers of a plot in Baltimore, a city seething with Southern sympathy. Lincoln's train route from Philadelphia to Washington required a switch in Baltimore, where assassins planned to strike amid a crowd. Kate Warne became the linchpin, disguised as Mrs. Cherry, a Southern belle with a thick accent. She infiltrated high society gatherings at Barnum's Hotel. Sipping sherry, she charmed secessionists. Her reports confirmed the horror. A diversionary fight would mask the killers stabbing Lincoln at Calvert Street Station. Pinkerton relayed the intel to Lincoln's aides. On February 22nd, Kate orchestrated the evasion. Posing as Lincoln's invalid sister, she reserved a sleeper car berth. Lincoln, in disguise with a shawl and cap, boarded secretly in Philadelphia. Kate stayed awake all night, vigilant as the train slipped through Baltimore at 3 a.m., evading the plotters. By dawn on February 23rd, Lincoln was safe in Washington. This mysterious discovery saved a president and history itself. Kate's role, often overshadowed in accounts, but Pinkerton called her indispensable one of his top 5 detectives. As war erupted, her skills would dive deeper into the shadows. The Civil War, from 1861 to 1865, transformed Kate into a master spy. Pinkerton, now head of Union intelligence under General George McClellan, relied on her female detective bureau. Based in Cincinnati, Kate coordinated operations, often posing as Pinkerton's wife to infiltrate Confederate circles. Women, she argued, could worm out secrets in ways impossible for male detectives. Disguised as Kate Warne or Kitty Warren, she attended Southern's, gleaning troop movements and supply lines from loose-lipped officers' wives. One operation saw her smuggling messages across lines, her petticoats hiding coded notes. Risks where he capture meant execution as a spy. Yet Kate thrived, her intellect piercing the fog of war. In the war's aftermath, crime surged. In a fractured nation, 1865 brought Kate her most chilling case: the murder of bank teller George Gordon in Atkinson, Mississippi. Gordon, a diligent employee at the local bank, vanished one night while fetching the evening deposit from the express agent, a routine task. The next morning, his body was found bludgeoned, skull crushed by a hammer, $130,000 gone. No witnesses, no leads. The killer had struck to silence and steel. Pinkerton took the case, suspecting insider foul play. Clues pointed to Alexander P. Drysdale, the bank's cashier, a man with debts and a shady past. But evidence was circumstantial: a bloody hammer, mismatched alibis. Speculation wasn't enough for conviction. Pinkerton needed concrete proof. He turned to Kate. Undercover as Mrs. Porter, the wife of a jailed forger, Kate arrived in Atkinson. She rented a room near the Drysdales, feigning vulnerability to befriend Mrs. Drysdale. Over shared meals and tearful stories, Kate spun tales of her husband's arrest, mirroring the wife's fears. Sympathy bloomed. One evening, Kate casually mentioned seeing Mr. Drysdale with suspicious sums. Horrified, Mrs. Drysdale cracked. "It's buried in jars," she whispered, revealing the backyard stash at Drysdale's father's home. Kate signaled Pinkerton. Agents dug up the money, proof irrefutable. Drysdale was arrested, tried for murder, and convicted. On November 17, 1865, he hanged, justice served in a noose. Kate's infiltration had exposed the hidden truth: a colleague's betrayal, driven by greed. This real mystery, a blend of bank robbery and cold-blooded killing, showcased her genius. But it wasn't her only post-war triumph. In another enigma, Captain Sumner hired Pinkerton, suspecting his brother-in-law, Mr. Patmore, of poisoning his wife, Sumner's sister, and plotting against Sumner himself. Kate posed as Lucille, a fortune-teller with a crystal ball and veiled secrets. She ensnared Patmore's mistress, drawing out confessions of arsenic listee and murderous intent. The plot unraveled. Patmore served 10 years. Kate's disguises peeled back layers of deception, proving her unmatched in uncovering forgotten crimes. Pinkerton praised her loyalty, but the work took a toll. Sleepless nights, constant deception, the dark history of espionage weighed heavy. By war's end, Kate had helped thwart sabotage and gather intel that shaped battles. But peace brought new horrors. Murders cloaked in post-war chaos. And one case would test her like never before. Kate Warne's career was a tapestry of triumphs, but the toll was steep. Constant travel, high-stakes risks, her health faltered. In late 1867, pneumonia struck. She died on January 28, 1868. at just 35, in Chicago. Buried in Graceland Cemetery's Pinkerton plot, her stone misspells Warne, a final irony for a life of precision. Pinkerton mourned her as a dear friend, crediting her with inspiring female agents. Her legacy, a hidden history revived, first woman in U.S. Secret Service roles, paving for generations. Before Scotland Yard hired women in 1980, Kate blazed trails. Her story inspires books, shows like The Pinkertons, and films Emily Blunt set to portray her. Yet, in this dark cinematic tale, Kate reminds us of unsung heroes. In an era denying women votes, she wielded power through wits. Her mysterious discoveries echo, progress hides in shadows, waiting for the bold to illuminate. So, what buried truths lie in your family history? Until next time, keep questioning the past.